All right, this is MCM 215, and the title of the course is Radio/TV News Reporting and Production. For this class, we'll just briefly look at the introduction, what to expect with regards to this course for the entire semester. So I'll be highlighting that, and also what to expect in terms of everything that we need to learn under each of the subtitle that the course will focus on. Now, our focus is going to be on newscasting. That is, you will learn how to cast news scripts, writing a news script for yourself, news production. That means you're going to be involved in the production of the news bulletin and the news itself. The use of Adobe Premiere Pro for editing, you have to also perform the role of editing yourself, and also the use of Audition for editing, basic techniques in scripting for news, the studio equipment that you're going to use in the production process, styles of writing, especially when it comes to news writing, studio operations. This will take you through the step-by-step operation that goes on in the studio by the different people that are involved in the production process of the news. Then we also have the different types of studio and what they are used for. So that's what you're expected to learn here. So focus, we are also going to be focusing on the studio camera. How does the camera operate? How many cameras, and what are the types of cameras or tools that are used for the purpose of news production in the studio? Also, basic studio management will be taught during this course. All right, so basic techniques in scripting for news. Scripting for news is completely different from other types of scripting. And this is so detailed in the way that you set your margin, the notes that you attach to your script, slug, which is also an element of a news script, the split page, which we use in most cases for audiovisual medium. In some cases too, is also used for audio medium, which is radio script writing for news. You also be learning how to use abbreviations when writing your news stories. You also learn punctuations and how we present names and titles in a news script, including middle names and also initials in a news script. They are quite different from program script and every other type of every other forms of script writing for the mass media. And management. So for studio operations and management, students are expected to try to understand the studio space. Okay, in some cases not a very large space, but it is important for them to understand the space and how the spaces are used during the news production process. It's also important for them to learn how to make use of the gadgets and the gadgets that are available also in the studio, including all the tools in the studio, and also how to maintain some of the tools and equipment used in the studio. It's also important to understand the personnel that are in the studio at that particular time, or meant to be in the studio at that particular time, for the production process of the news and the role that they play while they are in the studio during the news production. The types of studio, we have the photographic studio, we have the television studio, radio studio, audio recording studio, chroma studio, digital and animation kind of studio. It's important for students to know the differences, the different types of studio and what they are used for. Studio equipment also, handling of the studio equipment, lighting, editing workstation, audio mixing console, studio cable, and how to connect the cables in the studio, also the different types of microphones and the one appropriate for different forms of programming, but in this case for newscasting. So it's also important, because we are mass communicators, for us to understand grammar and how words are supposed to be presented, how time is supposed to be expressed in a script, how we make a script look very current and relevant to our audience when presenting it. So there are so many rules in terms of style of writing when it comes to news presentation. We'll also learn that as well, so that when students are writing their news stories, they know that they are following the rules of grammar appropriately, especially in the aspect of news writing. So the different types of microphones and their uses will also be presented, so that when students are going for different types and different forms of production, they will know the appropriate microphones to use as required for the type of production they are getting involved in. So also the studio camera types, the parts of the camera, and the best camera required for certain productions. Also camera accessories and how to handle them, maintain them very well for a long-lasting usage is also what will be taught to the students. All right, so basic studio management, how you manage the studio, how you run the studio, the rules and regulations that guides the studio or operation in the studio, the studio staff for radio and for TV. Basically, it's important for us also to understand the basic production process. Some authors will tell you that you have more than 3 production process, some 4, some 5, and the likes. But for this course, we're going to be looking at just 4 basic production process for this particular course. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. My name is Dr. Tolulope Kayode Adedeji. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.